What if I told you that Amazon, the same platform you use to order phone cases and kitchen supplies, is quietly selling some of the most powerful, most tactical, and most insane self-defense tools on the planet? Completely legal, no background check, no firearms license, no waiting period. Just add to cart and it shows up at your door. But we went deep and what we found is genuinely unbelievable. Before we start, everything on this list is legal to purchase in most US states without a firearms license. That said, laws vary by state and country, so always check your local regulations before buying. TASER Bolt 2. Let's start with something that sounds familiar but works in a way most people completely underestimate. The TASER Bolt 2 is not your average stun gun. It's a conducted energy weapon that shoots 2 electrified probes up to 15 feet away, delivering a 5-second neuromuscular disruption that temporarily overrides your attacker's ability to control their muscles. That's not a mild shock, that's a full incapacitation. And most people don't realize that even after the probes are deployed, you can drop the device and run, and the 5-second cycle continues without you holding it. Byrna SD Launcher. The Byrna SD is the product that makes people do a double take, because it looks exactly like a compact semi-automatic pistol. Same grip angle, same size, same feel in the hand. But instead of live rounds, it fires chemical irritant projectiles at 60 miles per hour using CO2 cartridges. Those projectiles carry a payload of OC pepper compound that bursts on impact, creating an immediate and incapacitating irritant cloud around the target. No gunpowder, no live ammunition, no federal firearms restrictions in most states, which means no background check required and no need for a concealed carry permit. Umarex T4E HDR .68 caliber pump-action rifle. A pump-action shotgun that ships directly to your door with no firearms license, no FFL transfer, and no legal headaches. And when you see what it can do, you'll understand why it's one of the most popular home defense alternatives on the market. The Umarex T4E HDR fires .68 caliber projectiles, rubber balls, pepper balls, or paint marker rounds using a CO2-powered system that delivers enough force to cause serious pain compliance at close range. This looks simple, but the impact energy it generates is comparable to tools used by police departments for crowd control and riot situations. Cold Steel Code for Tanto Point. Cold Steel has been making some of the most respected production knives in the world for decades, and the Code 4 Tanto Point is a perfect example of why their reputation is unmatched. The Tanto blade geometry, with its strong, reinforced tip and angular secondary edge, was specifically designed for maximum piercing strength through tough materials. This is the blade profile chosen by military and law enforcement for a reason. TASER Strike Light. What makes the TASER Strike Light so brilliant is the concept. 2 of the most useful defensive tools you can carry merged into one. On the surface, it's a 300-lumen tactical flashlight, bright enough to temporarily blind someone in low-light conditions and useful enough for everyday carry situations. But running along the body of the light itself is a contact stun capability that activates with a separate switch. So here's how it works in a real scenario. You use the blinding light to disorient an attacker, and if they close the distance before you can create space, you already have a contact stun device in your hand. Byrna TCR Tactical Compact Rifle. If the Byrna SD is the pistol, the Byrna TCR is the long gun, and everything about going from a handgun to a rifle platform applies here. Longer sight radius means more accurate shots at distance. The stock gives you a more stable firing platform, which matters when you're under stress and your hands are shaking. More barrel length means the CO2 system can generate higher projectile velocity, delivering more impact energy on target. And yet, because it fires the same chemical irritant and kinetic rounds as the SD, it carries none of the legal restrictions of a real firearm in most states. Umarex T4E HDR 50 Revolver 6 shots, .50 caliber, revolver format, and completely legal to buy online without any firearms paperwork, because technically it's a less lethal launcher. But don't let that term fool you into underestimating it. The HDR 50 fires rubber rounds with enough kinetic energy to cause serious pain compliance at realistic defensive distances. Seen in the revolver format means no magazine to fumble with just point and fire 6 times in rapid succession. Red Pepper Quick Release Keychain. The most dangerous moment in any self-defense situation is the half-second where you're reaching for your tool and it's not immediately ready. That's the gap this product eliminates. The Red Pepper Quick Release Keychain rides on your keys, which means it's already in your hand every time you approach your car, unlock your front door, or walk through a parking garage. The quick release mechanism separates the spray from the keyring in a single motion, and the ergonomic body puts the nozzle in the correct position without you having to look down or reposition your grip. No cap to remove. Pepper projectile. Traditional pepper spray has one fundamental limitation. You have to be close to use it. Most canisters are effective within 10 to 12 feet. And in a real-world threat scenario that might not be enough distance to feel safe while deploying it. Pepper projectiles solve that problem entirely. These are self-contained rounds, typically .68 caliber, filled with OC pepper powder that burst open on impact, creating an immediate chemical irritant cloud at the point of contact. Zune Lotoo Annihilate Tactical Shovel. The name is dramatic, but the capability is real. The Zune Lotoo Annihilate is a multi-tool built around a full-size folding shovel blade. But once you unfold everything it's carrying, you realize it's one of the most densely functional survival tools ever put into civilian hands. The blade itself is sharpened on 3 sides, giving you digging, chopping, and slicing capability in one piece of steel. Fold it differently and you've got a hoe configuration for clearing brush. CL Compact Launcher. The CL Compact Launcher fills a very specific need: maximum defensive capability and minimum package size. While the Byrna SD and the T4E platforms are excellent, they're still recognizable as defensive weapons, which can create complications in certain environments. The CL Compact is small enough to disappear into a jacket pocket, a small bag, or a vehicle glove box without drawing attention. But once it's in your hand, it delivers chemical irritant rounds with enough force and accuracy to stop a close-range threat reliably. The trigger safety prevents accidental discharge even in a bag or pocket. This looks like a compact piece of equipment, but the engineering inside pressure regulation, trigger geometry, round compatibility reflects serious design investment. For anyone who needs a discreet, non-lethal option that doesn't announce itself, this is the most concealable launcher on this list. K-Bar Mark I. Fixed blade. There are knives with great marketing, and then there are knives with actual history. And the K-Bar Mark I is firmly in the second category. This blade has been carried by U.S. Navy personnel since World War II, which means it has been tested in the harshest real-world conditions imaginable and has continued to be issued for decades based purely on performance. The 5-inch blade is made from 1095 Chogan carbon steel, a high-carbon alloy that takes and holds an exceptional edge and can be resharpened in the field with basic equipment. K-Bar TDI Law Enforcement Knife. Most defensive knives are designed for offense for the person initiating contact. The K-Bar TDI was designed for a completely different scenario: the person who is already in trouble. Specifically, it was created for law enforcement officers who have been taken to the ground, are being grappled with, or have had their primary weapon grabbed. and need a last resort tool that they can reach and deploy even when their hands are compromised and their mobility is limited. Reapr 11,000 Tac Javelin, a throwing spear. Available on Amazon, no license required. And before you write this off as a novelty stop, because the Tac Javelin is a serious piece of kit that has a legitimate place in outdoor survival and bushcraft scenarios. The 6-foot fiberglass shaft is light enough to throw consistently and rigid enough to maintain accuracy at distance. The precision ground steel tip is designed to penetrate cleanly without tumbling, which is the difference between a tool and a toy. Tactical self-defense pen. The tactical pen is arguably the most underestimated item on this entire list because it looks completely innocent, and that is its greatest strength. Machined from aircraft-grade aluminum or titanium, depending on the model, these pens have a reinforced striking tip at the opposite end from the writing point that is specifically engineered to concentrate force into a very small area, maximizing pressure on nerve-rich target zones like the wrist, forearm, temple, or collarbone. The physics are simple. The harder the material and the smaller the contact area, the greater the pressure delivered per square inch with the same force. Monkey Fist Steel Ball Keychain. The Monkey Fist is one of the oldest improvised weapons in recorded history. Sailors used them for centuries, both as weighted throwing lines and as close-quarters defensive tools. The modern tactical version takes that same principle and refines it. A solid steel ball, typically 1 to 2 inches in diameter, wrapped tightly in paracord using the traditional monkey fist knot pattern with a loop at the end for a secure wrist grip. CRKT Woods Chogan T-Hawk. The Tomahawk is having a genuine revival in the tactical and survival communities. And the CRKT Woods Chogan is one of the reasons why. Designed in collaboration with a Native American artist and survivalist, the Chogan carries both cultural authenticity and serious real-world utility. The 19-inch Tennessee hickory handle gives you enough leverage to generate significant swing force, which means it splits kindling efficiently, drives tent stakes, clears light brush, and, in a worst-case scenario, functions as a close-quarters defensive tool with a reach advantage over a knife. Schrade SCHF 52 Frontier. The Schrade Frontier represents one of the best value propositions in the entire knife market. Not just on Amazon, but anywhere. 9 1/4 inches of 1075 high carbon steel in a full tang construction, meaning the steel runs continuously from the tip of the blade all the way through the handle without any joints, pins, or welds that could fail under extreme use. The blade is thick, 4 millimeters at the spine, which means it can be batoned through hardwood, used as a pry in a pinch, and absorb lateral force that would snap a thinner blade entirely. PepperBall Spray Gel. The fundamental engineering problem with traditional aerosol pepper spray is fluid dynamics. A pressurized liquid mist in an outdoor environment, or near a fan, or in windy conditions, travels in unpredictable directions, including back toward the person who deployed it. Gel formulations eliminate that problem entirely. The ballistic gel used in PepperBall's formula is thick enough to travel in a directed stream, accurate enough to land precisely where aimed, and adhesive enough that once it contacts skin, clothing, or hair, it stays there. An attacker cannot simply wipe it away. The OC compound continues to penetrate and cause irritation even after initial contact, which means the incapacitating effect persists and intensifies rather than diminishing as the attacker wipes at their face. Guard Dog Pepper. Guard Dog Security builds products specifically for people who think carefully about how defensive tools work, under real stress, not ideal conditions. The pepper spray formula combines a high-concentration OC compound with UV marking dye, creating a two-part system that both incapacitates in the moment and marks the attacker for later identification under ultraviolet light. Law enforcement can use that UV marker to confirm exactly who engaged with you, which matters enormously in a legal context after a defensive situation. Gerber Gator Machete. Gerber has been supplying the U.S. military with blades and tools for decades, and the Gator Machete is the product that shows exactly why that relationship exists. The 18-inch 1050 high-carbon steel blade comes from the factory with a working edge that most machetes don't achieve even after sharpening, and the blade geometry is optimized for the slashing and clearing work that machetes are actually used for. Not the glamorous stuff, but the sustained, repetitive work of clearing trail, cutting vegetation, and processing camp material for hours at a time. The handle is what makes this product exceptional. Survival Spear. The modular survival spear is a concept that sounds almost too simple. A steel spear tip that threads onto any compatible pole. But the implications of that modularity are genuinely impressive once you think them through. In a survival scenario, carrying a full-length spear is impractical. You can't pack it, you can't move through dense terrain with it, and you can't store it conveniently. But a spear tip that collapses to pocket size and then threads onto a hiking pole, a tent stake, a found branch, or any other sturdy pole you can locate in your environment, that's a completely different proposition. Now you have a full-length hunting and defensive spear that weighs almost nothing in your pack and can be assembled in under 30 seconds. Zero Tolerance, 0308, Folding Knife. Zero Tolerance was created with one specific mandate: build knives for professional end users, military, law enforcement, first responders, where failure is not an option and cost is a secondary consideration. The 0308 is their flagship folder, and it represents everything that philosophy produces when the engineering team has no budget constraints. The blade steel is CPM 20CV, a powdered metallurgy stainless steel with high vanadium content that produces a blade capable of maintaining a working edge through thousands of cutting cycles without needing resharpening. Top Operator 7. The Top Operator 7 represents a category of defensive tool that doesn't have a simple name because it doesn't fit neatly into any conventional category. It's a multi-configuration impact and defensive system built around the principle that a defensive tool should adapt to the situation rather than requiring the situation to adapt to the tool. The modular head system allows for different striking surfaces and defensive configurations, and the grip can be adjusted for different carry positions and deployment styles. This sounds like marketing language until you realize that it's used in actual tactical training programs, not as a novelty demonstration item, but as a primary training tool for defensive scenarios where striking, blocking, and controlling an attacker are the required skills. Ka-Bar BK18 Becker Harpoon. We saved this one for last because it genuinely deserves the position. The Ka-Bar BK18 Becker Harpoon is Ethan Becker's most aggressive and purposeful design. And Ethan Becker is not someone who designs knives casually. The BK18 features a 10.25-inch blade of 1095 Chogan steel, the same high-carbon alloy used across the Becker line for its exceptional toughness and field sharpenability ground, to a convex profile that concentrates mass behind the edge for maximum chopping efficiency while maintaining the piercing geometry of the clip point tip. That tip is not designed for camp work. It's designed for penetration, clean, deep, and reliable. At least one item on this list belongs in your hands. Every single link is in the description below. Take your time, do your research, and make sure whatever you choose is legal in your specific state or country before you order. We're not responsible for your local laws, but we are responsible for making sure you know these tools exist. Which one surprised you most? Drop it in the comments. We read every single one. And if you want to see the top 10 best EDC tools that aren't on Amazon tools that most people have genuinely never heard of, that video is on your screen right now. Click it. You're going to want to see what made that list.